Boniface Mwangi, the rest are losers. Boniface is actually not an independent candidate. He's running on the Okweli party ticket. But we're back with our panel. Jeanette, this question of independent candidates. So there's going to be many at that presidential debate. There's 18 presidential candidates as we know it. Would you like to see Raila Odinga with the other 17?
No. My party leader and the NASA presidential candidate will only debate with President Uhuru Kenyatta and nobody else.
So all the others?
They can debate among themselves.
Okay. Joy, do you want to weigh in on this one? Because the independent candidates are the ones who've driven up the numbers and, rightfully
I watched the last presidential debate.
Yeah.
And I must say, if it wasn't for the presidential debate, we would not have unearthed some lovely gems like Abduba Dida. It has a place where everybody can participate, in my opinion, because there's some of the lesser known ones who this is the only platform. Remember, the French have just done the elections. Unfortunately, they keep drawing parallels here and there. And part of the laws is that the media must give equal time to each and every presidential candidate. And there are prefects who sit and time that this is done.
Right.
But in Kenya, when you watch the news, you'd imagine that there are no other candidates apart from the top two. So a debate is the place where you can get to hear what the other candidates have to offer. And so they would be able to sway a few people their way. So if Honorable Raila can only debate with the president, then they can have their two. Then when we have these others, we make a meal out of them. Because I believe amongst them, there must be a few geniuses just waiting to be announced.
Yeah, and who have a right to be heard.
Exactly.
No, Jeanette?
That's why they're running.
It's not about the right to be heard.
Yeah.
It is about the seriousness of the matter. We are discussing
You don't think
here,
they're serious?
No. We are discussing here issue of how to run this country. We're not discussing here comedy, show. And you know how this country has developed, how politically strong each party is. Even when you hear the debates in other matured countries, this is leaders of 2 serious parties or 3 serious parties that are debating on issues of governance and issues of the economy and issues affecting that country. I will not allow my party leader to debate with the jokers.
All right, let's talk about your party leader for a moment, because it emerged that Kalonzo Musyoka's name was fronted by his own party. In fact, IEBC gives that list as 8 presidential candidates whose names have been forwarded. And Kalonzo Musyoka's name is on that list. What gives? And this was perhaps done at a time when we were made to understand that all the NASA principals were debating, and there was a committee that was sitting down to take a look at who would be the candidate. Is this a serious concern? Did your party know that Kalonzo Musyoka's name was indeed on the list at IEBC?
Yes, indeed. You see what happened, Yvonne? Many of our affiliate parties within NASA did their national delegates conference last month. So many of them, came up with their presidential candidates like WIPA, ANC. It's only UDM that did very late there. So they submitted names to IEBC.
But yet IEBC does not have the names of Musalia Mudavadi or Moses Wetangula or Isaac Ruto.
Yeah, well, that shows you that WIPA was serious. They wanted to have a presidential candidate as a party. So they did well. But when we agreed now is when things changed, after depositing our agreement with the political parties registrar. Secondly, it's on 28th when presidential candidates will give in their papers to IEBC. So that's when you will exactly know who is a presidential candidate and who is running.
But from that list, IEBC says the deadline is tonight, I believe. 28. And they say there will be no alterations, no deletions of these names. Are you a little uncomfortable? Is this causing jitters within NASA? Do you think that at any point...
Yeah, the deadline for today is submission of your name by political parties. But on 28th, when you're submitting your now certificate to IEBC, if you don't appear, you will not be a candidate in IEBC list. It's on 28th.
So this is a non-issue?
This is a non-issue.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an issue that is being peddled by certain people who thought that NASA will disintegrate, Kalonzo will run as a presidential candidate, Raila will run. Those stories now are behind us.
Is it really, though? Because I think people are reacting to the fact that the name came out from the IEBC list.
Yeah, it's true.
Or do you think the IEBC is engaged in propaganda against your party?
But you should be informed also by subsequent event that happened after that name was taken to IEBC. Okay. There was a huge rally at Uhuru Park that endorsed a presidential candidate and his running mate. So I don't know why they're not seeing that. They're only seeing a name being taken to IEBC.
Daisy?
Well, I think it's maybe two things. It could be also a political ploy to get people talking the way we are talking, because having made the agreement as NASA, I imagine that they lodged a coalition agreement with the Registrar of Political Parties, and therefore NASA itself is not a party, but it is a coalition. So it could be that this is just a political gimmick to have people talking and think, oh, NASA is falling apart. Or maybe it is a plan B. We do not know. I think we wait and see what happens on the 28th. On the 28th, when we have the final list of candidates and their running mates, then we will be able to say conclusively that it was just something to keep us talking, because there's no reason why Wiper would not have withdrawn their party leader's name as a presidential candidate.
All right.
So I just think it's a gimmick. I think
A gimmick?
Kenyans, we love theatre. I think we love political theatre. I think
It is the political silly season.
I think
Komodo.
there's nothing to it. I think until the 28th, that's the only time. If Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka turns up on that day at theatre and to enjoy the evening, and Kenyans love that, then you should have the whole lot. In fact, even if there are more, there's still time. But if you want a serious discourse about policy, this country is a serious country. We have serious challenges. You can't have the president debating with people who will not even get votes to get an MCA seat.
Correct.
Honestly. So if you want theater, bring those others, let them have an evening, and they'll discuss policy issues that are important. And I think that's important to bring those issues. In fact, they should have their debate first. And some of the issues that emanate from there can then be discussed with the candidates who we actually intend to give this country in another 3 months. But I think to mix the two would be unfortunate.
So, how many do you think then? Because Jeanette says two, Raila Odinga and the president.
Oh yeah, I think that once
Two?
you have those two, those are the two candidates.
Those are the-
Those are the only two possible persons who are going to win the presidency.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there is nobody, and I think we all
On
know
this
that.
one, the two of you agree.
Even,
That's
the,
interesting.
even the candidate, even those candidates know that. So
For now.
yeah. So I would say, let's have a debate by everybody, but let's separate.
For now, but it's interesting, Daisy, because in 2013, you were in RBK and you were working behind, James Ole Kiapi, who was the candidate at the time. I think many dismissed him and thought he shouldn't be part of the presidential debates. Is it different this year?
Where is he now?
I don't know where he is. I think he's running for governor. But let me say this. I think I want to agree to a large extent that it's important that all the presidential candidates be given an opportunity. But I think we should also gauge the seriousness of a candidate from how long they've been running their campaigns, because there are people who have just emerged, out of the blues in the last 2-3 months, and they say that they want to be president, they want to run the country.
Yeah.
I think even in terms of polls, if they don't even appear on the polls, I think it would be unfortunate to now bog down the whole debate.
These
with-
polls that we constantly say we don't believe.
Yes, we always
We
say
want
that.
to use them
but
now as a yardstick to sort of whittle down
it
the
is
candidates for the
politicians
debate.
who will say that when the polls don't favor them.
Right.
But generally, we know that it is scientific and
Okay.
it will show you, at least they're basically quite plausible. So I think it is important that we get to hear from the people we know have a very high probability of actually winning this race. And this is not to demean the aspirations of any candidate, because I know a few of those candidates. Some of them are my personal friends, and I don't see why anybody should be discouraged. One of the things that they do is they also demystify the presidency, They make it something that anybody can aspire to, which is a good thing. And perhaps they should be given a forum of their own, whereby they're given that platform, they can talk about their issues. But for the actual debate, the final candidates, it really must be from the front runners. So let the media do a poll, bring out all those polling companies, and get your ratios of
Right.
who should be there. But at the end of the day, we all know that this is really a race between Jubilee and NASA.
So two horses. Joy,
No,
I'd
but
like
you
to
know,
give you the final word
The thing that
on this one.
disturbs me is that we have provision for a runoff. At the first round, everybody should get an opportunity. And it's not just for the sake of opportunity. There are those Kenyans who do not ascribe to what Jubilee stands for, who do not ascribe to what NASA stands for, and would be happy to cast their vote even with the lesser-known candidates.
Right.
They need to have a conscientious position where even if their candidate gets their 50 votes, there are their 50 protest votes. There are their 50, we are standing with this candidate.
Right.
We are the 50 of us and we are happy
And you're
and proud
going
to
down
stand
with
with
it,
this
yeah.
candidate. I think that's why candidates like Ole Kiapi existed, because there are some people who are saying, look, we know our guy does not have a fighting chance, but
we
we want him
believe
to
in
know
what he
he's
stands
not
for. But we
alone.
believe in what he stands
We
for,
believe
yes.
in what he stands for.
Right.
And in the spirit of democracy,
Yeah.
everybody who qualifies should get that chance. When it goes to the runoff, then they can be the two of them. And of course, at that point, the others will even have no right to stand on.
Right.
But at this point in time, if we're doing something, let us make it available for everybody, even if it is drama.
Everybody, even though I don't think the average Kenyan can name the 18, well, say for the two and maybe
And by the way,
a
at the
couple
end
of
of the day,
others.
won't be the 18.
Don't forget, we also have a very large number of undecided voters.
Right.
We have those who are determined for either side of the coalition, but we also have a large number of undecided voters.
Okay.
So for me, I would propose the media actually has a forum where others, like other ranks.
The others.
gosh.
Yes.
Also, Renz.
Yes.
Also, you see, can you imagine a debate of 18 people?
Yeah.
It's
You
not
know, I
even
mean, it's
gonna
not a-
work.
it's not gonna
going to
work.
be like a caucus.
It's not practical.
You know,
All right.
but even the
See,
last
Jeanette?
one was
Even the
so
last one
long-winded.
was long, yeah?
It was.
You see,
Yeah,
the debate
Jeanette?
is not an election.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to tell Kenyans what he stands for, what he feels, he can
You
call for a run.
run a campaign.
You run a campaign.
That's what you run a campaign.
But the
Okay.
debate is a quality time that people want to know
To ask
serious
questions.
candidates, what they stand for and what they intend to do for the country. And,
Compare and contrast.
Jubilee to accept their failures and NASA to tell Kenyans what they want to do for them. So it's a serious business.
Okay.
It's not an
Quality
election time.
I like that. I think we will leave it on that note. Quality time. And hopefully ODM will also talk about, or the NASA coalition, if you like, will also talk about perhaps, better ways they could have checked the government or what would be different in terms of their offering. Thank you very much. Jeanette Mohammed, Suna Easton-P, Joy Brenda Mdivo, who's an advocate, Daisy Amdani, and Kamolo Waiganja. Thank you all very much for this discussion. All right. So I'll get to your views in just a moment. Thank you very much. Keep them coming. The hashtag is Checkpoint. We're taking a break. We have the sports news. We also have My Take. It's coming up next. You don't want to miss that. So we will be right back.